Dereck Lersch, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, man. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You're really hot right now, dude. You're playing all the time. I mean, you just did 3 shows this past weekend, right?
Yeah.
You did a double.
Yeah.
Tell me about this past weekend.
Yeah, so we played Friday at the Sarasota Fair, went down, woke up early, played the Naples Seafood Festival.
Which is a hike from here.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So a couple hours drive. We took the bus, got down there, unloaded, played from 12:30 to 2, hopped in the car. We were off the stage and in the car rolling out by 2:20. So we did it in 20 minutes, back all the way up to Sarasota, to downtown Sarasota. We played Gator Club's big St. Patty's Day
How many
block
people
party.
would you say were there at Sarasota?
Oh, gosh. Thousands, because there was a ever-flowing crowd, right? So, I mean, there was so much going on that people were walking through. I mean, but at one point, as far down as you could see there, from Gator Club all the way down Lemon, I think it is there, so many people. It was very cool.
Yeah, you know, the Gator Club does a wonderful job every year shutting down the streets.
They're the best.
And putting that thing on.
Yeah.
We actually play indoors, Gator Club. We're there a couple times a year. And it's a late night, you know. We'll play 9:30 to 2.
Yep.
And you don't get out of it until about 3 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes for a tough, next day.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun because, people are there on the dance floor and you got a nice crowd and everybody's jumping around and it's just high energy, right?
Oh, yeah. That's the kind of shows we loved. I mean, so Gator Club was one of the first places I got the chance to play. And it was my favorite because it's, there's nothing better than the crowd being right there with you and you feed off their energy. And it's such a great place.
Did you get a chance to meet Johnny Diamond?
Oh, yeah.
He's a great guy.
Oh, Johnny's the best.
And he's got a good band and a good sound, man.
Yeah, so
he was inside while you guys were outside.
Yeah, so I talked to him after we were done playing. I was a zombie because I was so tired, but I did get the chance to talk to John, and I love their whole show and what he does and just what a front man. And
he's an entertainer, isn't he?
Yeah. And and
he always has good looking women in the audience.
Yeah. Something about that, right?
It's the opposite of us. Like jacked up, we don't have the good looking women. I go to one of his shows on my night off. And I'm like, he's like all these beautiful women.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Hey, it's just something about that lead singer thing, right?
I think so, man.
Yeah.
Well, he's a handsome guy too.
Yeah. John's a great guy and just a phenomenal performer. So
what was it like when you got that phone call that you're going to be playing, you're going to headline St. Patrick's Day downtown? I mean, it must have been pretty exciting.
Yeah. So we got to do it in October for their Halloween one. And that was kind of a last minute thing. And it was like, oh, wow, that was really fun. We kind of dressed up. We had some fun. But St. Patty's Day, I had seen the history of that and how many people there were. So we were very excited about that. And, those are the kind of shows we love to play.
Of course. Who doesn't? Yeah.
Exactly.
High exposure, man.
Exactly.
High visibility.
We had a blast and it was just the crowd from start to finish. I mean, really from the beginning, it was as far back as you could see people. And we're used to as a band playing 4-hour straight shows. We did that a lot. Back a couple years ago, we did a lot of the Tin Roofs, and that is 4 hours Nashville style, no breaks. And so we got conditioned to that.
Sure.
It's exhausting, but we got conditioned doing that. So, even though that was the third show of the weekend, I turned around to the guys and said, we doing it? We going 4 hours straight? And my drummer's like, I need 5 minutes, man. Just give me 5 minutes and we'll call it then I'll be good.
So would you do 2 sets then?
Yeah. So, I mean, we really took a 5-minute break.
So 2 big sets.
Yeah. Oh,
so you played from what, 8 to midnight or?
Yeah, 8 to midnight. It was outside, and I think we took a break around 10:15, and it was a 5-minute break. That was it. He just needed to refuel a little bit, and we were off.
You know what? I got a lot of respect for bands that do that because it's not easy.
No.
The one thing there's two things I always tell people in my band, and this has been my creed. There's 2 things. One, it's not about us; it's about the audience.
Yep.
We're entertainers. We're there to entertain.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing because I think sometimes we're like, well, I want to play this kind of music and I want to play that kind of music. But you know what? We're playing what the crowd wants.
Exactly.
And one of my questions, and I'll ask you this now.
Yeah.
What do you guys do about requests? How do you handle requests? For an example, wherever we play, people will come up to the stage, whether they try to get our ear or they put it on their phone,
Oh, yeah.
Sweet Home Alabama or, Mustang Sally.
Yep.
What's your policy on that?
So, I mean, if we know it, we don't really go off a set list, right? Like I like to read the room and get a vibe off of what songs I feel like we should play. Now the show, it typically follows, a basic, kind of a set list, but it's not, I'm calling songs at random. So if we know a song and somebody requests it and I feel like, you know what, it fits the vibe right now, I'll play it. You know what I mean? If there's a song we don't know, hey, I'm sorry, we don't know it. You know what I mean? Because we're playing to tracks, a click, a click for every song. So tracks on about 40% of the songs. So, it's not like we're just winging it, you know what I mean? And I'll never do that with our band. I'll never say, oh, we'll try that. If somebody asks me and I know it acoustically, maybe I'll sing a verse and a chorus just to please them. But we try and stick to what we know best. And it's so tough nowadays with DJs. I mean, DJs have become such a big thing. And, there are some clubs in which, a DJ's in this room and you're in this room, or a DJ's playing on set. And, that's hard for bands. You better have a good set list, because if you don't, they'll just go listen to the DJ and they'll go request a song to the DJ. And so I think people sometimes forget that we're not walking jukeboxes.
Do you advertise yourself as a rock band, as a country band, as a country rock, as a top 40? Like, how do you position yourself?
So we're a country rock band. Depends who you ask. Some would say we play rock. We're a rock and roll band that plays country. But that's kind of, for me as an original artist as well, and playing those original songs, they fall into that country rock vein, the Jason Aldean. I grew up on Aerosmith and, the Eagles and Led Zeppelin, all that stuff. That's what I grew up on. And that was the foundation. And so, that morphed into Brooks and Dunn and all that stuff. And so we cover a wide base, we'll play the Eagles, we do a little snippet of an Eminem song, you know what I mean? So we'll play all different kinds of stuff. But when, if somebody comes and asks, what are you? We're a country rock, country rock artist.
What do people say? Like when you come off stage, like say you have a break after a set, what are some of the things you're hearing from your fans?
Just high energy show. It's just overall performance of what we do as a band, and me as a frontman, again, going off my influences, right? Steven Tyler and those frontmen that were dancing around stage. And so I took that and I've made that my own thing. And so just the high energy show that we put on for people, that really just blows them away.
So you and your guys are cognizant of that. People are watching to smile, to move around, to dance.
Yeah.
You have a guitar strapped on you the whole time, correct?
No. So I play about 50% of the songs on my acoustic. And then I'm being the front man, jumping around and doing everything like that. So, a good amount to where I can catch my breath, you know what I mean? And I'm cognizant of that when we're playing, and I was like, okay, I need a breath. Let's, let me pick up and play a song with a guitar. But no, I'm about 50%, and then I get to run around and shake my butt and, have some fun. And, that's what I love to do. Is I don't want to be tethered down. I want to be moving around. I want to feel the crowd. I want to mess with my guys. You know what I mean?
See, lead singer, you have a very important role because everyone's staring at you, right? You're going to have, the girls adoring you, right? You're going to have guys maybe that are like jealous that wish they could be you. You're going to have some older folks that might be critical and like looking at you like this, like, oh, you missed a note, you know? You might have, so the point I'm trying to make is that you're under a lot of pressure. You're under a microscope, as a bass player. I have a tendency to kind of hang in the corner and jam with the drummer. And there are times I can literally not even look at the audience and just look at him, and that's acceptable.
Yep.
Whereas you're 24/7, you're the guy. I mean, people will go home at night and they'll say to their friend or their spouse or their neighbor how good the band was based on the singer.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Everybody in the band has such a crucial role, right? I say it all the time at shows. I'd be nothing without my guys. And I have such a good group of guys that care about me and care about the mission and the goal and a great performance and a show. And everybody takes their craft really seriously. I mean, you won't see any of my guys or me being sloppy on stage or anything like that. We know what we're there to do. We're there to put on a show and give it our all, and that's what we do.
Walk us through the band lineup.
Yeah, so we got a couple of changes. In the last year, we've had to change 2 guitar players. One had the day job just take off, had another baby, and one, my guitar player, Ben, is just moving back to Iowa. So had a little bit of change up, but right now we have Zach Zupan on guitar, who's a phenomenal guitar player. We're welcoming Brandon Blattner. He's coming into the band starting in April. Tony Dakel's my drummer. He's been my drummer for the last 4 or 5 years now, and he's unreal, out of this world. I couldn't do this without him. He runs so much of our operations. I mean, he's the backbone like any drummer, but he's running the clicks and the tracks and all that stuff is coming from him. And then Mark Serban is my bass player. And Mark has been with me from when I started with him and his son, Scott Serban, and they had the Daisy Dukes band, and they backed me. And that's how I kind of started.
He's been in music for a long time.
Yeah. So Mark's been with me.
I never met Mark. I think I met his son one time because his son is Joyland, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So Scott owns Joyland, and Mark is probably the nicest guy you will ever meet. I can't speak highly enough about Mark Serban. So he's one of my best, players right there.
So bass and drums, and then two guitars, and then you'll play a third guitar in the way of an acoustic, which is mostly rhythm. And you'll do some singing. Now, your tracks, when you bring them in, there's some keyboard stuff in there. Yeah,
so just different stuff. I mean, if there's like a banjo or some, keys, something like that we just don't have, some fiddle, something like that. Well, again, that's on probably about 30% of our songs. So it's not a ton. We're not overdoing it. But just enough for those songs where we absolutely need it, we bring them in, and so that
I'm a big fan of Dwayne and One Night Radio. Okay, yeah. I've been following those guys for years. Yeah. I used to live and work in Fort Myers. And that's when I first met them. I met their manager at the time.
Yeah,
and they tastefully use tracks as well.
Yep.
Dwayne, is in charge of all that stuff.
Yep.
He records a lot of those things himself.
Yeah.
So there's a place for it, right? It's tastefully done.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's not obnoxious. It's not in your face. It's not like you're looking, going like. It's perfect kind of for the crowd because, it's blended in there nicely. It's not in your face. And it's those things that I think really make this song important. And nowadays it's just a reality of what this music world kind of is nowadays. There's so much tracks and so many different effects. So we try and walk that line because I'm definitely a traditionalist in a lot of ways too. You know what I mean? I love hearing that original playing of people and not just, fake tracks.
So getting back, that's good. So getting back to my 2 points. So the first one was, it's all about entertaining. The second one is Read the Room, which you just mentioned that. And one of the things that I love about my band Jacked Up is that we do biker festivals and biker things. So like we can break out the ZZ Top, we do the harder rock, the Guns N' Roses and stuff. Last night we played a St. Patrick's Day party at Woody's. We do it every year. We're like the annual Woody's St. Patrick's Day band. And we did a block of country just to see how it would go over.
Yeah.
Because we have a new singer, Sarah Santiago, and she could sing Gretchen Wilson and all that great stuff.
I saw that. That's
so,
great.
In fact, I have a great idea. I just thought of something. One night, if you're off,
we'd
love to have you come on stage with us and sing. You can sing with her.
Yes, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But anyway, so those are the two things. And, I like the fact that, I'm sure when you played the Gator Club, what were some of your covers you did? You probably did you do any of those like fun Bon Jovi and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Because people like go gaga over that, man.
Oh yeah. I mean,
they can sing along to it. They know the words, Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, AC/DC, Def Leppard, they love it.
Yeah. We do kind of a cool version of You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC where it sounds definitely like the original version. It's a little bit countrified. We have a little slide guitar in it.
That's very cool.
And but yeah, I mean we mix it all up and play all different kinds of stuff. And I think that's important, you know what I mean? Because again, I love classic rock. I mean, that's what I grew up on, along with country music. So a mix between, the old stuff that everybody loves, the new stuff that's happening and that's, what people love nowadays. And we kind of blend the two. And then we're mixing in originals here and there as well. So, again, it's just finding that placement and reading the crowd.
So I'm sure a great compliment for you would be then when somebody would say, "Hey, you got a great mix of music."
Yeah,
because that means that you're hitting it. You're giving something to everybody, right?
Yeah, and I think that's
old country,
important.
New country, classic rock, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you're not going to ever be able to please everybody, So I mean, but having that wide variety of songs, I can read a room and say, hey, I know Morgan Wallen song is about to just, burn this place to the ground. Watch this, or I know, Bon Jovi right here, Living on a Prayer, or Sweet Caroline is just going to make this place erupt. You know what I mean? So there's certain songs where you just know you've got them right here.
Right. So great example would be if you did Joyland, you would be heavy on the country if it was country night.
Yeah.
But when you do the seafood festivals, which we do as well, and you got a 75-minute or is it 90-minute set, you can give a nice variety.
Yep. And that's what we do. The seafood festivals have been great because
we actually opened up for you guys one down in Punta Gorda. I think it was like
I loved your show, man.
January or something maybe.
Yeah, Julia played with you guys.
Julia filled in for us.
Phenomenal.
Isn't she great?
Yeah, you guys were phenomenal. We were all super impressed and
you guys were great too.
Thank you. Yeah. So, but those 90-minute sets have been great because you do get to throw in all different kinds, you know what I mean? Especially there, we're playing everything from, classic country, modern country, classic rock, and then again, mixing in the originals and stuff like that. And it's worked out so well because everybody comes up to us and they're like, you're just playing all different kinds of stuff. We loved your originals, you know what I mean? So it's been great, not having to come up with 4 hours or 3 hours of material, really hammering it down to that 90-minute set and going, let's give them our best. Here we go, and give it our all for 90 minutes.
So we love playing the seafood festivals.
Yeah.
We got one coming up soon.
Yeah.
And one of the best things that my guitarist Larry and I do, he's my right-hand guy, after the set and after we clear off the stage, which, by the way, I have to say this because it's hysterical. We actually hustle to get that stage clear, and we did it for you.
Yeah.
And even if we got to carry stuff off and just like throw it over the edge, right?
Yep.
Because we know what it's like when we were there.
Yep.
We want the band in front of us to get off quickly so we can set up, test, and be perfect. Because they like to start on time.
Oh yeah.
But there was just one band, and I'm not going to name the names of the bands. This one band was finishing up, and the other band that came on started physically moving the first band's gear to like get up, and without even asking if I can help you or and I think that that's kind of rude, man.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a fine line there. I mean, and I think this area does a pretty good job of mutual respect for musicians.
That was
and
just a
stuff like
one-time
that.
thing.
But there are some where it's like you're looking at your watch, going, "All right, come on, I gotta work hard to get on there on time."
But here's my thing though.
Yeah.
Let's say you play from 2:30 to 4.
Yeah.
Have a great set. Now you're unplugging your stuff. You're getting okay. The other band shouldn't set foot on the stage yet. No. Technically, that's still your stage.
Yeah, not yet.
So one time, and this happened to us, but I won't name the guy or the band. Literally, the guy, the last note, and the guy's walking across the stage.
Oh no.
Now, granted, he knew me and he shook my hand and everything, but still, I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Give
me
5 seconds.
What if I want to do a band photo and all of a sudden you're in the middle of it?
Yeah, yeah, and those changeovers are tough. I mean, when we hit the road a lot a couple of years ago. I mean, we've been on the road, but we played a lot of the tin roofs, and they're same deal as the festivals. It's a 30-minute changeover, and so what we learned in those moments, and have since used that, for the Seafood Festival and elsewhere, is we'll stage everything off stage so it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Because we run in-ear monitors and stuff like that. And so, but everything's ready to go so that it really takes us 5 to 10 minutes to set everything up and be really ready to go. Just because we'll stage it, beforehand and be ready to go. So yeah, it's those 30-minute changes are not easy though. You know what I mean? Like, especially if there's a lot of moving parts, but Paragon does a great job.
Yeah. So the minute I get off, what we'll do is we like to walk into the crowd.
Yep.
And go get a beer.
Yep.
A lot of times people will want to come up to us and say, great, take a picture. A lot of times you get free drinks.
Yeah.
And it strokes my ego. It like makes me, it's like something like it's like a drug. It's like, oh, it's like they love me, like it's kind of, I know it's vain.
It is.
But I kind of dig on that vibe because then it only lasts a few minutes because then I got to get in the truck and I got to leave.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, let me go get some love.
Yeah.
You
need that. You need that, especially.
It keeps you going, man.
Well, it's not easy what we do. And I think, when you get those compliments and somebody comes up to you and says, gosh, that made me feel some kind of way, that I was having so much fun. And I think that makes you feel, it feels worth it. You know what I mean? And you feel good. I mean, there's nothing better than, having thousands of people out there singing along with you and just having a good time. And you're the reason for that right now. You've got them in this moment, and that's a special moment. So I think that's the great thing about music, but also performing live is just, there's no better feling than getting to go do that.
Now, you guys have actually, your following is growing. I mean, you're building your base nicely.
Yeah. Thank you.
How do you engage with them? Do you try to talk to people off stage? Do you try to be accessible?
Yeah.
And engaging the people when you're not playing, like outside of your social media?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I'm for sure after a show, I'm always willing to talk to people. You know what I mean? We have a band joke. Sometimes there's a couple girls or danger, danger, danger over there. You might not want to, but we do. We try and we go out and talk to people. And I think that's been another good thing about the seafood festivals and stuff like that. Is just getting out there, getting to meet people and hearing what they like and hearing what they're struggling with. And it helps me as a songwriter too. But yeah, we really hit the road hard a couple of years ago. I mean, in the last couple of years, we've played in 23 states and gone over 60,000 miles and played in all these different cities. And the goal with that was to expand our audience. I mean, social media is great. It's kind of the king of, the world right now and how you get your name
It's
out
a full-time operation, man.
It is. And between TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all these different things, as an artist, it's sometimes overwhelming. You're just like, okay, now I gotta learn how to do this TikTok thing. And, but the goal was really to grow our audience as much as I could. And I think doing that live is the best way.
Do you have family and friends helping you out? What's your management system like?
Of course. I mean, I do a lot of it myself. So I went to school for music business and, so a lot of the booking and stuff like that, I'm mostly doing myself. I mean, of course you can't do it without a support system and everything like that. So I have so many people in my lives that do that. But as far as booking and all that stuff is mostly me.
You're dealing with Bill Kenny yourself.
Yep.
Jamie Brester and her brother and those guys.
Yep.
Yeah, so do I. I do everything for Jacked Up.
Yeah.
It's my baby, and it's since day one.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a couple booking agents we'll work with. Todd Cool is an amazing one.
Great guy.
Yeah. Phenomenal guy.
We work with him too.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple that we worked with.
Have you done the Hard Rock in Tampa yet?
Yep. Yeah. So we're actually back there April 26th.
Yeah, that's a fun spot.
Yeah. So we work with Dennis Bailey.
Oh, there's Jane.
Yep. So there's a couple that they work with out of there. Dennis was the one who we got with. And he's really nice, really great too. So but mostly it's just me. And it's funny. There's times where I'm like, oh God, I wish I had somebody to do this. But then the control freak in me comes out, and I'm like, I just love.
Yeah,
that's what I love doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm working hard, and nobody's gonna sell you like you can yourself. You know what I mean? Like when it's your baby, with Jacked Up for you or me, it's my name. I can go out there and really say to somebody, hey, listen, this is who we are. This is what we're going to come in and do. Just watch this. You know what I mean? And so we've been able to do that.
And the cool thing is for you, especially around, because you're from here.
Yeah.
You can tell a venue or, we can bring in a certain amount of people and they show up and they spend money.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better for a band to be able to say, I need a pay increase.
Yeah.
And then to back it up by saying, we sold your bar out and they were drinking like crazy and the revenue's there. Because a lot of venues have said to me, when we were first starting out, they didn't want to give me what I asked for because it's like, look, you don't have that kind of following, man.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to sell that many drinks. And that's what it's all about. I mean, The Who or the Rolling Stones could come and play Stottlemeyer's, but if nobody shows up to spend a dime, what good is it, right? Yeah.
No, and we were very strategic when I started out. As I brought up Scott Serban earlier, he really took me under his wing and got me going. And one of the best piece of advice he gave me at the time for me wanting to be an original artist and all this stuff. And he said to me, he goes, you don't want to oversaturate yourself and be playing all these, little clubs here and there. He goes, it's great, but is that what you want to do? Because there comes a point, especially, and I'm sure, you've ran into this at some point in your life, is you get in the cycle of the same venues and you just, it gets hard to grow, you know what I mean? And I always kind of wanted to be growing and doing bigger and bigger things. And so one of the things we really focused on was, okay, we're not going to go play every little bar in town. We're going to really stick to, really the only place that we play locally consistently club wise is Joyland. And beyond that, it's mostly other events. We'll play in St. Pete, Welcome to the Farm. We'll play, Old Red in Orlando, stuff like that. But we tried to not oversaturate ourselves too much so that when we did play or when we did have a big event, people wanted to come see us because they don't get to see us
That's a good point.
too much. You know what I mean? So that was important for me as an original artist to be able to do that. It's not easy though. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays, the clubs, that are, worth playing, there's few and far between now. I mean, COVID knocked out so many
Plus, you know what? Your guys want to get paid.
Yeah.
I have guys in my band that are depending on that money.
Yep.
And so like I look at our schedule and I say, well, I don't want to play as much as we are, but at the same time, we have to make a certain number for each person.
Yeah, and that's an important thing too. I mean, having that open line of communication with your guys, and there's been venues we played and we said we're not going to go back. You know what I mean? Or there's been venues that we absolutely loved and we regularly play. So it's just kind of finding that balance of making sure everybody's happy, and I try and do that. We have a really special group of guys. I mean, when you spend 60,000 plus miles on the road together, you get pretty close.
It's a band of brothers, man.
Yeah. And
fantastic.
And it really is. And so we have something special, and I'm always trying to, as the quote unquote leader, check in on my guys. Hey, how you doing? I appreciate you. You know, what could we be doing differently? Are you, and taking that feedback and, saying, okay, and maybe explaining the vision, okay, hey, we're not doing this because this is what we're trying to do. And so, that's sometimes a fine line to walk through. You know what I mean? Is especially if somebody needed some more money. I always tell my guys, there's an open line of communication. You call me anytime you need me. And I think that just speaks again to the brotherhood.
But it's also about managing people.
Yeah.
And the one thing is, the longer I do this, the more I understand that concept. For an example, it's not bands. A lot of people think that every band member, it's not truly a democracy. There's a band leader that is basically leading. And then, yes, you're certainly asking people for their ideas and suggestions, and you want to make sure that everybody has a voice, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it's not really like nothing would get done if you had to wait for 5 or 6 people to vote on something.
Yeah.
You have to make a decision, and everybody follows.
Yep.
There's certain checks and balances along the way. Like I'll always consult with Larry.
Yep. Because
he's older and wiser than I am. He's been doing this a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I usually do something, and everybody follows suit. And,
yeah.
And I've proven myself that I'm always going to come out on the good side,
Right.
Yeah, I've made mistakes. I've booked venues that perhaps maybe after playing them were like, I was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe we chose songs that just flopped,
Yeah.
So you learn.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of speaking to the guys that I have in my band and like you're saying in your band, it's this trust thing that grows over time. And, we have a band calendar and, we stick to that band calendar. You put your blackout dates on there, but if there's nothing on there, I might book a show, because I might not have the time to text you and say, hey, is everybody free this date? Because you know how it is with booking people. You better give them an answer now.
You get a call from the Hard Rock. They need you this Saturday night and you guys are open. You're taking that gig.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you just got to say yes sometimes. And those guys trust me enough to know, I'm not going to put us in some, dive bar. You know what I mean? It's going to be worthwhile. And I always tell them that. I'm never going to take a show just to take a show. You know what I mean? It's going to be worthwhile.
But here's the problem that your band might have, and it's not the problem that I have.
Yeah.
I can always bring in fill-ins.
Yeah.
Like I have fill-in drummers.
Yep.
Because my stuff is really not, we don't play the tracks and we don't do originals, and my
Yep.
stuff's pretty bar basic stuff.
Yeah.
So we've had Mike Solois
Oh,
from
love Mike. Yeah.
the Lost Boys
Yep.
play with us recently.
Yeah.
Hard-hitting guy.
Oh, yeah.
No nonsense.
Good Boston guy. Like,
We've had Mike Zimmerman play with us. I don't
Yep.
know if you know Mike. We've had a lot of guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I as a bass player, I have a lot of drummer friends.
Yeah.
And I have no problem calling one of them up and saying, hey.
yeah.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make in your case is that because you guys are who you are and you have a product that's so fine now and you got such a great, set list that it might be hard to plug in another guitar player because this guy has to go see his grandmother.
Yeah. And it is. And that's why we rely so much on that schedule, because we put on a show, you know what I mean? And it is a show and we're rolling through songs. I mean, there's not very much delay in between songs. It's normally that song ends and that song is starting. So it is very hard to fill in. And we actually have a show upcoming in May. My drummer, Tony's first show he's ever going to miss. And we have a great fill in and no doubts, but it's going to take us practice.
Sure.
I mean, and even our new guitar player, Brandon, we signed on back with him in January and he's going to start in April. That whole time we have been rehearsing every week. And
you have like one night of the week, like, ours is Monday.
Yep.
Every Monday night, we're either in the studio room that we rent out or we go over somebody's house.
Yeah. So it's Wednesdays for us. We have a headquarters warehouse office similar to a place like this. And, that's where we get to rehearse and we are gelling it down and we're rolling it like a show, especially these last couple of weeks that we have before the show starts. Because it's so important now that we've really established who we are, and we say it all the time. You just don't know who's going to be at one of our shows. And that just happened, last week. We were playing in St. Pete and the guy for the St. Pete Country Fest came out to watch us cause he had heard of us. And thankfully everything went great.
Sure.
And he said, hey, we're going to have you come
Sure.
play it in November for the big St. Pete Country Fest. So, you just never know who's going to be out there watching. So it is important for us to always be putting our best foot forward. So I rely on my guys, and that's a lot to ask of them, hey, be mindful of our schedule.
And you also have a high standard. Everyone has to know their parts, show up,
Yeah.
right now, you guys, you're a very hot band right now. I mean, your name's all over the place and,
Thank you.
you certainly caught my attention
Thank you.
a couple weeks ago, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to get this guy on the show. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying?
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here, man. I
Yeah.
love the
So
show.
let's talk about the originals now.
Yeah.
Do you introduce the original and play it, or do you play the original and then say, hey, that was one of mine? Like,
So
how do you set that up within your set?
that's a great question, and that has changed over time, and it changes depending on the venue. You know what I mean? Sometimes if we're at the bar, similar to like the place like the Farm, Welcome to the Farm up in St. Pete, where there's drunk young kids that don't really care to hear an original song. It's tough to fit an original song. They just want to hear songs that they know. I'll play it, and then I'll throw it in there at the end. Hey, that was an original song. And people were, bobbing their head, and all of a sudden they're going, oh, that was really cool. Versus the seafood festival and other things where maybe I know I've kind of got the crowd and I've just got them no matter what. I'll introduce the song and I'll, either tell the story behind it, I've got a song called Train Station. It's about the show Yellowstone, the train station in Yellowstone. I wrote the song about that. So, I'll always ask, hey, we got any Yellowstone fans out there? And it's just that capturing of like, what's he talking about? You know what I mean? And it brings them in and invests them into the song. So if I feel like I have a crowd that's willing to invest in the original song, I'll tell them about it right beforehand. If I'm not feeling that vibe, I'll just, hey, let's play it and I'll throw this in at the end. And if they like it, they can go listen to it.
Yeah. Typically your seafood people tend to be a little bit more astute.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more sophisticated, maybe a little bit more, aware of what they're going to hear and see and listen to. Like, so you're right. They're more educated in that sense, and they want to hear that. Like, if you went over a seafood festival, because sometimes, like, I remember, like, we first played in the seafood festivals. In the beginning, people would just applause, just be polite. But then Julia's personality came out over the mic, and maybe we told a couple funny little things, and then the music got better. And next thing you know, now they're clapping and they're really meaning it.
Yep.
Then as we're getting into like the third segment of the show, like the last half hour of the 90-minute set, now you got people erupting.
Yeah.
And now people are standing. So like you win them over. You know what I'm saying? Like at first they're like, who's jacked up? Like, who are these guys, man? And then they start to like, oh man, she's from Michigan and she's cool, man. I like the way she sings. Oh, that bass player, he's funny. He's from New York. He's the leader.
Yeah.
And then we start hitting them after song after song after song of just great classic rock. And then the next thing you know, I mean, they're coming up now. Now they're dancing in front of us.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to say, hey, you can dance.
Yeah.
Like they just do it.
Yeah.
We put out a tip jar, even though it's kind of weird because like the stage is up this high.
Right. Yeah.
But people put money in there, you know, and then you just win them over. So that's cool, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's nothing better than winning over a crowd and going into a situation. I mean, we've played all different kinds of things, and there's no better feeling in the world than going into a room that is questionable about you and looking at you like, oh, I don't know about this. I mean, we've gone down and played, a while back, but country clubs, you know what I mean? And we're a party, younger band. And by the end of it, we've got the 70-something-year-olds out there dancing and having a good time, and they're coming on up to us, and it's like, haha, we did it again, boys. You know what I mean? Like we won them over. And I think there's no better feeling than that.
I think it comes down to a good song is a good song is a good song.
Exactly.
So, Brown Eyed Girl and Mustang Sally, Sweet Home Alabama, those are three songs that everybody wants to just vomit when they have to. But as musicians, we play it. Yep. And we play it well, and the people love it and they dance, right? And that's what it's all about. Yeah. But songs, really good songs, will always last over the century, over the time. I mean, like 2025, you could play a song from 1965. Yeah. It's 60 years old. Yeah. But like a great example. This song's not that old, but I sing lead on Hands to Yourself. Yep. And that song, people just get off their chair and they just dance to it every time.
I know. I heard you do that. That was great, by the way.
Thank you.
I loved it. It was a great version of that. So
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys did phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, I think song selection is so important, and we take suggestions all the time, and you got to keep up with current music, especially in the country world and the venues we're playing, so if it's Morgan Wallen or Zach Bryan's song just came out, it's like, we better listen to it because we're probably going to get asked to play it. You know what I mean? But a good song is a good song, and there are just classic songs that you just know are going to work.
Zach Brown has an album out of like classic songs that he redoes.
Oh, okay.
And I think they're live. So he does like Baba O'Reilly by The Who.
Oh, wow.
He does like a lot of really cool things. You should check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Do you cover some of his stuff?
Yeah. So we do like Chicken Fry, Zach Brown Band. But yeah, he's phenomenal.
Listen, this may not be good for you guys, but listen to this song. It's called Colder Weather.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No,
That
very well.
song, I mean, I don't know where you could play that because that's kind of like a serious.
Yes. Yeah.
But that song, every time I hear it, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my
That cuts you
god.
deep. Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's the thing. I think that's the best part about, music and me as an artist. And that's why I loved country music. I mean, like I said, I grew up on a lot of classic rock, Aerosmith and the Eagles. But the storytelling that I think country music and Brooks and Dunn and all that stuff, that's what really drew me to country. And truthfully, I kind of look at country music now as what classic rock used to be. I mean, there's a lot of classic rock musicians that got into the country world because rock changed so much. But for me, as a songwriter, just trying to tell a good story, I think that's always the most important thing. And so
If somebody said, "Hey, man, who do you play like? Who do you sound like?" If someone had to say, describe your voice,
man,
how would you answer that?
I don't know, because I've heard of many different things. I'm trying to think. There was a guy who came up to me the other night at Gator Club, outside Gator Club, and he said, man, who did he say I sounded like? I don't know. I have a raspier kind of voice. It's definitely got a little bit of a country twang in it. So I don't know if there's one you could put a finger on, truthfully, or not at least off the top of my head. But again, just pulling different influences. I think that was always my biggest thing, and in some ways my biggest strength. Getting the moves like Steven Tyler and the songwriting like Brooks and Dunn and all those artists like that, Garth Brooks, just kind of morphing that into what I wanted to be as an artist. And it's really helped me.
What would you say separates a average country band, cover band
Yeah.
to a great cover band? What are the things in your opinion that make the difference?
We do a couple things that I think are different and stand out. And one of those things is the guys in my band, we kind of have a dress code, and they dress in all black. And they're in all black every single show. And then I got to dress up however
Are you
I
guys
like.
doing cowboy hats or?
Nope. So no cowboy. I wear one. I always joke, like, you'll see me with this ball cap on backwards. And then I always make the joke at the show when the cowboy hat goes on, that means we're about to get a little crazy. So, but the guys are just dressed, normal, all black.
Like, so you're saying like maybe shoes
Yep.
instead of sneakers?
Yep. Hey,
perhaps maybe like clean jeans or
yeah,
pants.
no, I mean, it doesn't,
like maybe a collar shirt as opposed to like a muscle shirt.
No, so they can dress. I mean, as long as it's black, like my guitar player Zach, he'll wear the black Columbia shirt. Other guys, we have band, Dereck Lersch t-shirts, so they wear those. So I mean, I think that's important. I think another thing that we do is not letting any dead air on stage. You know what I mean? Like like I said, we're rolling into songs, and it's just one after another, and we'll let proper air breathe, when it needs to, I'll do my talking, but there's only so much you can say as a front man or anybody.
Yeah, good evening. It could be something.
Right.
And then you don't say anything until maybe 3 songs later. You're like,
right.
Welcome.
Right. And then it's, you kind of run out of things to say. So, people just, we live in a society now where it's on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And I think that as bands, that's important to remember too, because, if all of a sudden we're not playing the next song, then I see 5, 10, 20 people walking out, like, I don't want that to happen. I want to have them, and I'm not letting them go,
I agree. And that can go back to your thing about audibles, because here's the deal. We'll play in Gator Club for an example.
Yeah.
We have a floor that's going, and I know the couple songs that are coming up might be belly bumpers that we purposely put there because maybe it was like a set list that we used previously in someplace else, but we'll call that off knowing that it's gonna slow down the dance floor.
Yeah.
Because when I make the set list and I consult with my singer, obviously, we like to take them here and then bring them up.
Yep.
Keep them up.
Yep.
Maybe bring them down a little bit, but then finish on a high note.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing where, we have a talkback microphone that one of the guitar players operates, so he can communicate to the band. So I'm looking at him.
I was going to ask you that question because it's hard to call it audible when you're all in inner ears, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's one person, then he's making the audible call to everybody else.
That's
so
brilliant.
Yeah. So it really works well for us. It's funny because sometimes the sound guy, the crowd's like, that guy's talking into his microphone and nobody's hearing, or he's talking to us, like saying something funny, some jokes on there. But I mean, so I think just things like that, that kind of separates you, you know what I mean? And song selection's a big thing, and just the overall show. I mean, I always tell people like, we go play 3-4 hours. I go, but come to one of those shows and watch every band member, include, me, or we're going hard the whole time. And I think that's just important because people feel that, you know what I mean? And if they feel your energy's up here, they're going to meet you up here.
No doubt.
And so that's just something we're always just pushing.
So Dereck Lersch is a project. A product.
Yeah.
Like Jacked Up's a product. Like
Right.
we've become a brand.
Yeah.
And I think that you constantly want to improve the product.
Yeah.
Right. And what is the product? The product is those 60, 75-minute, 90-minute sets, whatever they are.
Yeah.
That's your work. I mean, that's what you do. You're going to work.
Yep.
And so everybody looks great. Everybody sounds great. High energy.
Yeah.
People don't realize this at home, perhaps people watching this show, even that it's a business.
Yeah.
There's commerce, there's trading hands, there's insurance, there's legal stuff, there's contracts. I mean, it's a business.
Oh yeah.
And you're delivering a product and someone's paying you for that product.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when we were auditioning guitar players and we landed on Brandon, who was phenomenal. One of the main things I was telling them throughout this process is we're an operation. We are a freight train that is rolling, and you're jumping on at a very crucial time. And I mean, we have a big Sprinter van with bunk beds in it, and we've got the trailer and all this gear and all this stuff. And we're, we travel on the road. I mean, so we're gone weekends here and there. We'll go to Cleveland. We've been out to Denver. We've going to Boston, stuff like that. So, I mean, for me, I got to get all 5 of us from point A to point B in the fastest amount of time possible, the safest way possible. And it's just a whole operation that,
you definitely need help, dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you know what?
Yeah.
You're an artist as well. And you have to worry about yourself as far as your musicianship, right?
Yeah.
Knowing your notes and chords, your voice.
Oh yeah.
So if you're going to be planning that, because I'm glad you brought this up, because I wanted to talk about traveling, and I wanted to talk about your bus and your gear and how you do all that stuff, because one of the great things about you is that, yes, you're a local Sarasota, Bradenton band, but you're also more than that.
Yeah.
You're a national touring band.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're the best of both worlds, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. We went to Canada last year, which was incredible. It was probably the coolest show we've ever played to a couple thousand people. And so, it is very cool. It keeps it fresh. You know what I mean? You go play the same venues all the time, you get burnt out after a while. And so always trying to, take it a little bit further. What can we do? And so that's what we've done with the road gigs and getting our name out there.
Talk about the road. Let's talk about your gear. So, like, are you self-sufficient in that you have everything you need to take on the road and put on a quality show?
Yeah. So when I'm booking a road show or if somebody comes to me, I don't want to bring PA. I don't want to have to worry about that. There's just not enough trailer space there. There is, but I don't want to have to worry about that. And I don't want to set up PA, and I don't want to bring in, have to worry about bringing a sound guy and stuff like that. So I always make sure a venue has a PA. A lot of the venues that we also play have a drum kit, a house kit, where my drummer, all he has to do is bring his cymbals, snare, maybe his kick pedal, something like that. So that just already saves up so much trailer space. So beyond that, we are bringing our rack. Everywhere we go, our rack goes in a splitter snake. So what we do is we can run our own XLRs to the splitter snake from our instruments and everything like that. And all I have to do is hand the sound guy 16 tails and say, here's these channels. You mix whatever you want on your end, and our ears stay the same no matter where we go.
So you don't bring a guy with you that might be in charge of that while you're on stage?
No. So we're getting to that point where we're going to start to introduce lights here soon and stuff like that. So we're probably going to bring on a crew member and a kind of a tour manager role. But as of right now, the way it's operated so far is, no, we haven't brought anybody else. My dad will come with us, occasionally. But for the most part, it's just us 5 guys. The venue's got lights, sound, all that stuff.
So you're smart when you book something. You're like, look, we're going to need all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, because we actually bring our stuff, and we're at a point where we're not maybe perhaps as big as you in the sense that we're playing at venues where they'll have that. I mean, outside of Twisted Fork, seafood festivals. I think there's another venue we do. They provide all that stuff.
Yeah.
But usually we're still at venues where we're bringing it.
Right.
And so I heavily invested in QSC, and
Yep.
I got a trailer that we jam pack with stuff.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned lights earlier. We just started to invest more of our money in lights.
Yep. Oh, it's expensive.
Lighting is a whole nother world, man,
Oh.
because me and my guys, we know how to set up sound.
Yep.
And we know, what to do. But now lights is, DMX controllers. And like I already have a tablet in front of me. And I'm already able to control my monitor mix, right?
Yep.
Now, we switch between wedge monitors and inner ears. Depends on the venue.
Yep.
Lately, we've been doing so many outdoor shows that we're just sticking with the wedges. But
Yeah.
when you're indoors, you really have to have the inners, right?
Right.
So now I have another tablet over here because now I'm running the lights.
Right.
So I'm doing this, and I'm playing it. So it's a hassle. But
Yeah.
to your point earlier, it's like, at what point do you say, okay, we're going to hire crew.
Yeah.
Now we have to pay them.
Yep.
So now that's going to come out of the pool, right?
Yeah.
Because let's say if you get this X amount of dollars, you already know you got to split this up X amount of ways.
Yep.
You got expenses. Now you got to pay this guy.
Yeah.
I marvel at, and they're going to be on here next week, David Lay and Kristen Lee.
Oh,
22N.
two of my favorite people.
Great people.
In the whole world.
Great people. And
Yeah.
I love 22N. I've
Yes.
loved them since day one. They're
Best
one of the
band.
best bands around, and
Yep.
we aspire to be like them.
Yep.
But I marvel at them how they've grown their operation, because
Yeah.
not only do they have a crew,
Yeah.
but now he has multiple stages. So like one time, I think his operation,
Yeah.
sound company,
Yeah.
was able to put on 3 shows
Yeah.
simultaneously
Oh yeah.
with 3 stages,
Yeah.
3 sets of gears,
Yeah.
3 sound people,
Yeah.
So he's grown that part, and it's coming to a part where he has to now hire people just to run
Oh yeah.
those things, because
Yeah.
he's still a drummer.
Oh.
He still has to practice.
Yeah.
He still has to show up and be ready to play a live show, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We got to know the 22N guys and Kristen. We played the state fair together, and we played for a week. And so we became best buddies, because you hang out for a week. You're playing 3 times a day. You have a lot of downtime. So we got to know those guys so well, and they are the nicest group.
How about Michael
top to
Roberts?
bottom.
Isn't he a solid guy?
I love their podcast with him. I watched that episode
That was a
because
good-
Michael's my
That was one of
favorite.
my favorite episodes, because he's such an easy guy to talk to.
Oh, him, Gary. I mean, David, all those guys. They're such great people. But their crew is second to none. I mean, James is
brilliant.
just
He's brilliant.
unreal. I love when James gets to run our sound. But beyond that, though, the crew members that they have beyond that is just phenomenal.
But,
and that
but you
speaks
have to pay
David.
these people. It's like they're
Right.
not working for free.
No,
So that means you have to make enough money that you can make it work.
I've asked David a million times, I'm like, how do you do that, man? And he's just that, but that just speaks to him and how he does business, and how they have really elevated the game for so many of us. And again, just somebody you aspire to follow after, because, just like I said, it doesn't matter what the venue is. They can bring in, they're going to be the best. They're going to be the same everywhere you go, because he's not going to let it lag anywhere. So I think that is just crucial. And it's, again, getting to that point where you can, one, afford to do it, and 2, it just makes sense.
But
So,
he now set the bar very high for
Yeah.
the rest of us, because his quality,
yeah.
his production quality is very, very high.
Oh yeah.
Audio, visual,
Yep.
right? Lighting. And, we don't have the time or the money
Right.
or the smarts to be able to put on that kind of
Yeah.
show. So, but at the same time, part of me says, well, I think the music could speak for itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have that.
No.
Another part of me, a lot of times I'm like, well, you know what? I wish I had it, because it's like, it's the future, man. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like you said earlier, people, you got to entertain them, and people have short attention
short-term
spans.
memory. Yeah.
So like, you want to get them to watch you for that set.
Yeah.
And you have to do more than these days, perhaps, than just play good music.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, it doesn't have to always be, a copycat thing. I mean, each band brings something different. And I think that was great about when we got to watch your set. I got it. You know what I mean? Because everyone's jacked up. I never seen you guys live. And when I saw it live, I went, oh, okay, that's what people have been talking about. You know what I mean? I think people say the same about us is, all right, who's this young country guy? What's this show all about? Why is he getting to play, doing all this cool stuff that's really cool? And then they see the show and they go, oh, okay, I get it now. You know what I mean? And I think, 22N's that way too. Is like, when I saw their show and I got to see the whole package, it was like, oh, I see now. It's just amazing.
But David
Professionalism.
will be the first to tell you that it wasn't always the case. I mean, he had
No.
to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And just like you guys,
Yeah.
all that touring you guys have done.
Yeah.
You're a well-oiled machine now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't nearly be the band you are today, getting these massive gigs.
Yeah.
If you didn't put in all that grunt work and
Yeah.
all that effort, right?
Oh, I mean, I can't tell you how many nights we would, again, play 4 hours straight we would get 4 hours sleep. We're on the road to the next city, going to play 4 hours straight there and then doing it again and then driving right back home, which was, it ain't easy to tour out of Florida. There's a reason everybody tours out of Nashville, because it's so centralized in the country and things aren't that far away. Well, for us, I mean, a short drive is maybe 8 hours. You know what I mean? Most of them were 20 hours plus. So, I mean, you got guys in my band and me, we work day jobs, we have families. So, we'd leave on a Wednesday night or a Thursday, go play Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, wake up Sunday morning, even if we went to bed at 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and we're out the door at 7, 8 a.m. driving back home because we got to get back home. So it is, ain't no rest for the wicked. That's for sure.
So I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about the short-term future, like the next couple months or the end of the year. And then I want to talk about the long-term big picture.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the short term. Like what do you got coming up the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we got some really exciting shows coming up. So we're, April 2nd, we're going to be at Big Top Live opening for DJ Rock. He's going to be playing. He's coming down for Tortuga. But the biggest thing that we've got coming out hopefully later this summer is we have a song going in a movie. They shot the movie out here in Mayaca. It was called Florida Wild. And I got this opportunity to write a song for it. We actually wrote the title track for the movie. The song's called Florida Wild. And it's just really crazy how that came to be about. And it stars Lee Majors in it. It's got Bailey Chase from Longmire and Chandler Riggs from The Walking Dead. Some really big stars. And they're really expecting it to, be something pretty big.
When's the movie coming out?
So it should be coming out late summer. I don't think they have an official release date just yet, but we just shot the music video for it. It's an old Western movie, so it takes place a little after the Civil War. It follows 3 brothers. They come down from Georgia, and they come to Florida, Bradenton. Well, not Bradenton. They come down to a little town in Okeechobee and, go on this journey to Bradenton through the Florida Cracker Trail, which is a really cool part of history that I didn't even know about just living here, for my whole life, the Florida Cracker Trail, and very, very cool piece of history. So it's a cool Western film. And our song plays there at the end credits there. It's
When could the public hear the song?
So the song will come out the day the movie's released, and we're going to be doing a whole big, a lot of promotion, TV, radio. I was talking to Maverick and Lulu about that the other day, and hoping to get on there and play the song. And, like I said, we shot the music video, which came out phenomenal. I got dressed up in the old cowboy Western thing. I had a horse, and so it came out really cool. So we're in the process of editing that now. So it'll all come out right when the movie comes out. We'll be doing a big push for it. We'll hit the road and do all that.
Yeah, and before you hit the road, I'd like you to come back on my show.
Let's do it.
And we'll show the video.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Yeah, that'd be very cool. So I'm very excited about how that, because I'm thinking that's going to be a part of a bigger music project for me. We'll let the movie song come out and then probably follow that up with an EP and a lot more newer music and stuff like that.
Your world's going to explode 10 times more than it has already.
Thank you.
When that movie comes out and that song comes out, and I'm assuming it's going to be a killer song.
Thank you.
You're gonna need representation, man. You're gonna need somebody that's gonna be able to field phone calls and emails and be able to because that's gonna be just overwhelming for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited for it. I mean, we've worked so hard these last couple of years and really started to build that base and foundation, and it's felt like for the last little bit, we're right there. You know how it is in the music industry. It takes one thing. And so we're really hoping, this is kind of that launching pad that we can kind of utilize, which I was so grateful just for the opportunity. But that opportunity wouldn't have come without the hard work. And because the way we got that opportunity was they were watching what we were doing on the road and working hard and everything like that. So I believe opportunity birthed opportunity. And we need to use this opportunity to continue just pushing it. So very excited about what the future is and just continuing to grow.
More original music coming?
Yeah. So like I said, I think this will be part of a larger project. We're going to use this kind of as that launching pad. So shortly after that movie is released with the song, we'll probably put out something a little bit.
So maybe
longer.
Future Grammy Awards down the Country Grammy Awards.
We'll hope so.
CMA.
Fingers crossed, man. You never know, right?
Well, that leads to my second part of the question is where do you see the band 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now?
Yeah, music, you can play forever, but as far as making it, there's a window there, and that's just a reality. And so really kind of pushing that, I mean, we've been grinding. So, I mean, hopefully the next 3 to 5 years, we're playing, amphitheaters and then arena, you know what I mean? Like that's the goal for me.
Like you get like, let's say for an example, a big country name, like Kenny Chesney.
Yep.
He decides, or whoever decides for him, that they want you guys to open up for him.
Yeah, I think that's realistic. I mean, in the next 3 to 5 years, that's probably what you're looking at, building that fan base, going on tour, opening for somebody, and then hopefully going on your own tours and stuff like that. So, I mean, we speak that all the time in the band. I'm a big believer in, speaking things into existence.
So you actually have a long-term goal that you'd like to be at that level?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because, I mean, with the way the media is lately, like, like look at Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton was around for a long time before no one knew who he was.
Yeah.
He was an award-winning songwriter.
Yep.
He was a behind-the-scenes guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he got on one of the award shows, and then he just took off, and then he's won more awards than I think anybody I know of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's unreal.
I love his voice, man.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It just takes one thing like that. And they call Nashville the 10-year town. You got to be in Nashville for 10 years. And we're doing things a little bit differently. And I think the model of kind of what I'm aiming for is Cody Johnson. Cody Johnson was out of Texas, and, he went to Nashville, and I did as well. And they told him in Nashville, they said, this cowboy hat thing, it's not going to work anymore. That's not what it is right now. And he went back to Texas, and he just played and played and played and built his audience. And then all of a sudden that one thing took off, and then all the labels were calling him saying,
so you don't need Nashville anymore. I mean, like, it helps to be in Nashville, but it's not probably not like what it used to be, like you said.
Well, I think social media has made it so available to everybody that, there are certain parts of Nashville that are still super important in the
like,
community.
did you play a lot of those Nashville pubs at one point?
Yeah. So
is that like a rite of passage? Like you have to go do that at one point in your career?
So we've been to Nashville a couple of times. We've played right there on Broadway. We've done showcases and different things like that. And it's always fun to get to go play in Nashville. And I think one of the best compliments we ever got was we were playing on Broadway, and a couple people came up to us after, and they said, listen, we've been in every bar for the last couple days. You guys have been the best band, and it's because of the show that you put on. And I left there going, because you go to Nashville and your waiter has the most amazing voice and can shred a guitar.
Right.
And, I mean, I'll never forget when I lived there was a guy who I worked with who was in finance, and he's like, oh, I wrote, this song. And you're like, you wrote that? I mean, so that's just Nashville. So when you go to Nashville, you can feel intimidated. And when I lived there, I felt that. I wasn't as much of an artist there as I wish I was. So when we moved back home, I just said, I'll never feel that again. I won't ever let that happen to me again. So when we went back to Nashville and I got that compliment, it was kind of that, okay, you know what? I do feel like I belong. You know what I mean? I am good enough, and just that self-belief that I think, was super important. So, but back to the point of, do you need Nashville? Nashville's changed. The music industry has changed. Record labels are not signing artists anymore to development deals. They want your fan base built. They want to see your streaming numbers. They want a finished product at this point. So for me, I've got family, I've got kids, and so I've been able to grow this down here to where Nashville has started to pay attention and like, oh, what is he building down there? You know what I mean? So I think that's important, to continue to build, because Nashville will come knocking when the time's right. It's not always when you want it to be.
And also there's Los Angeles too. I mean, Los Angeles has a lot of recording there and a lot of great musicians. But to your point earlier, and this is a testament to Jacked Up too. Jacked Up is like, as I mentioned, it's a band, it's a product, but the product is stronger than the individuals that are in the project. Yeah. So I'm saying I'm a very average, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm a very average bass player, and I have a very average voice, but I fit. What I do works in this project. Yeah. My drummer is phenomenal. Yeah. Maybe he wouldn't be as phenomenal in another project, but what he does works there. Yeah. What he does there and she does. So it makes it like, wow, we're like, this is great. Individually, we wouldn't have either the success, or maybe even have the abilities,
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it's you got to have a good team around you if you want to make it and do anything and be successful, especially in the music industry. You need that core group of people surrounding you that will tell you, hey, that's not working. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I'm so grateful for with the guys I have and people around me that just say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should try this, or maybe you should do this, or, you know, and just that checks and balances, because, you know, you're so passionate as a musician that sometimes you want to run full steam ahead. And that's who I am. But it's always nice sometimes to have those people there to go,
Well, it's a team.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I always use sports analogies, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I played a lot of football in my life.
Yeah.
I love football. I think it's the greatest game on the planet.
Yeah.
And what does it teach you, man? It teaches
Yeah.
you, you know, you get your ass kicked. You have to get off the ground, dust yourself off, and then go
Right.
kick somebody else's ass.
Yeah.
You know, there's a difference between pain and injury.
Yeah.
There's bumps and bruises along the way. But how about those wonderful victories that you could celebrate with your teammates?
Oh, yeah.
And some of those defeats too.
Yeah.
It's no different in a band, man. You guys are a team.
Yeah.
You know, you're all players that have a common goal, right? And you
Yeah.
just want to win. You want to
Yeah.
just winning. And sometimes you're not going to win every game, but you know
No.
what? You're going to have a winning percentage where you're going to be like the Kansas City Chiefs or
Yeah.
some dynasty, right? Like the
Yeah.
49ers back in the 80s,
Yeah.
right? Or the Cowboys in the
Yep.
90s, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think and that just speaks again to the brotherhood. You're in it together. I mean, after Saturday night, you know, we're driving back in the bus. You know, we get back to our warehouse and we got to unload. It's, you know, 2 a.m. and you just put your arm around each other. And
I know
go,
that feeling, dude.
We did it again, though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
You're
we
exhausted, but you feel elated.
Well, because I mean, that was our second week in a row of 3 shows back,
Right.
you know, back to back to back. So you look at each other and you're like, you're a warrior. You know what I mean? And that's what I think all of us, we had shirts made, you know, the year we went on the road really, and Mark had them made and it said, you know, Road Warriors, and it had all the cities that we had played in. And it was so cool to look back at that and go, oh my gosh. Because each city had a different story to tell. You know, like I can go back and look at Kansas City and be like, my guitar player Ben tore his Achilles 30 minutes into a 4-hour straight show with no breaks and played through it. Didn't take a break, stood on one leg and played 3.5 hours with a torn Achilles. And then went to Denver the week after that and just sat and played and didn't miss a single show. So, I mean, you go through that together. I mean, you bleed together. I mean,
Great
it's so
stories, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it is that team atmosphere, and the same deal with you. I grew up in sports, so just creating that family atmosphere, and that's just something that is so important. And it just if that's what you have to be successful, is a good atmosphere.
You know, only musicians can relate to this, but you know, when you come off a 3-day thing like that,
Yeah.
you go home. First of all I want to do at this point is eat real food.
Yeah.
Like I don't want bar food. Like I
No,
want a proper
yeah,
meal.
yeah.
Even if it's 3 a.m.
Yeah,
I want to take a quick shower and I want to get in my own bed.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With my pillows, right?
Yep.
And sometimes I can't fall asleep right away because I'm still hyped up.
Oh yeah.
So I have a certain rituals I go through, and I have a puppy dog that wants to, you know,
Yeah.
he thinks that now I just got home at 3 o'clock, so now he's up.
Yeah, he's up.
He doesn't
Party
know.
time. Yeah.
It's time to go, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have kids too. You have children.
Oh, yeah.
So the point is that, you know, it's wonderful to play, to get the applause, to get all that stuff we get.
Yeah.
But then it's also nice, like, okay, the truck's unloaded.
Yeah.
My bass is nice and secure back in my house.
Yep.
I can now get something to eat. You know,
Yeah.
I have a couple days to just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because, you know, I am a dad, right? And I'm a husband, and I go out there, and if you watch me on stage, you wouldn't think those 2 things that I just said that I am. You know what I mean? It's just, that's a different person on stage, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But, you know, it's funny when there's nothing better than that, but there is, because when I get home and that next morning and it's daddy at 7 a.m. and I'm exhausted, but I come get a big hug and a kiss from my kids, it's like, okay, there's nothing better than that. You know
What do
I
your
mean?
children think that you do? What do they say their daddy does?
So it's funny, you know, they know what I do. I mean, they love Daddy's show. My son, that kid is no doubt going to be a musician and a performer. He is a spitting image of me, and so is my daughter in a lot of ways. So they know what Daddy does. I mean, they love coming to shows. I mean, my son's 2 favorite songs are Santa and a Honky Tonk, which was a song we had that was, you know, fun Christmas song, and Florida Wild is his new favorite. I wrote a song for my daughter called Girl Dad, so that's her favorite song. So anytime they come to a show, you know, those songs have to be played. So the guys know, if you see my kids out there, we're going to play those. So they know. I mean, I have a day job being a realtor and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's music, and that's gotten harder over the last couple of years. They're 4 and 2 now, you know, and it's harder to explain. Well, Daddy's got to go away for a couple of days. Daddy's going to be on the road, and Daddy's going to play some shows, and so it doesn't always add up to them. I mean, I think that they understand that, you know, I always try and explain to them, well, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to this point in my career, you know what I mean? And this is what I have to do to get there. And so they, as much as a 4 and a 2-year-old can understand, doesn't make it easier. But it's been good for me to keep that grounded too, because it makes me look at what I'm doing and go, is this worth it? Because this is what I'm leaving behind. You know what I mean? So even with road shows and stuff like that, it's gotten more like, okay, I want to make sure this is furthering my career. I don't need to go play another bar gig on Bourbon Street or, Beale Street just to say I did it. It's cool. I'm glad I
Sure.
did. But is it going to further my
Right.
career? You know what I mean? So they've helped me so much in that way in really focusing in on what, my goal really is, because I've got so much more than just myself to worry about. You know what I mean?
Well, it sounds like you're a young guy that has a really good head on his shoulder, man.
Thank
And
you,
you're very
Thank
smart, and
Thank you.
you got this all mapped out nicely, man.
Hopefully it will.
I mean, you're obviously being advised, and you
Yeah.
have great mentors or
Yeah.
gurus.
Yeah.
in
No,
your
I
life.
appreciate that.
So in the final minutes here, how can people find you?
Yeah, so Dereck Lersch Music on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, stuff like that. We've got so much exciting stuff. My website, Dereck Lersch Music, has all our shows and stuff like that. So, that's where you can find us. And, we've got so many different cool events coming up and stuff like that and shows. So, and like I said, we're going to be hitting the road kind of the second half of this year. So excited to announce all
So
those
the next
show
big
dates.
show in the area is Joyland?
So we're going to be April 2nd. We're going to be at Big Top Live. So that's a
Big
Wednesday.
Top Live, okay.
Yep.
So Big Top Live, have you seen it lately? They put a new stage in there, dude.
We have not played
It's
there.
huge.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be the
play
biggest stage I've seen in,
Yeah.
in any venue around here,
Yeah,
for sure.
And kudos to them for doing that, because it's phenomenal. So we'll be there April 2nd with DJ Rock. Then we're in the first weekend in April there, we're back at Welcome to the Farm in St. Pete, which is always a good time. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I've never heard of it.
It's right by Janus Live, so it's basically
Okay.
attached to Janus.
Okay.
And Forward Hospitality Group, they are second to none.
Is it just country or is it all types of music?
So it's mostly country. So it's a country bar. Country singer Chase Rice is one of the owners as well, and that. So it's country, but they have a cool, just a cool operation there. They have Goodnight John Boy, which is like a 70s disco club. So anyways, but we play at Welcome to the Farm, and the weekend after that, we're actually going to their Cleveland location. So yeah, but Hard Rock Tampa in April there's so many dates. You know how it is. You play every weekend. It's like it all blurs together, but we got some exciting things coming up for sure. So.
And one final question I like to ask people is,
Yeah.
what was that one CD when you were a kid that just really ignited it for you? Like, for an example, or it could just be a live performance you saw. Like the Kiss will always say, well, it was the Beatles,
Yeah.
and a lot of bands from that generation said they saw the Beatles, they all wanted to be.
Yeah.
What was the one piece of music for you that just totally just ignited it for you, man?
I mean, again, it was.
If you had to pick one, I know it's hard.
it is hard. I mean, it's probably Aerosmith. I could point to Aerosmith. I don't want to miss the thing. There's a video of me at 3 years old singing every single word to that and doing the Steven Tyler kicks and stuff like that. So I mean, I grew up on so much like that. I mean, Michael Jackson is. I love to stand in my room and pretend dancing like I was Michael Jackson. And it's funny to look back at that, because I ran into a girl who I've known forever, and she at a show recently, and she said, she goes, I'll never forget, you were like 5 and you were performing like Dream On in your room. I remember being there, and I go, nothing's changed. There's more people nowadays,
So what would you say to Steven Tyler if you had to sit down with him?
Oh man. Well, thank you for just,
For being you.
Yeah, for being you, and just, again, learning so much, just watching all the interviews and but just the egos. I mean, all these different kinds of musics and artists, and taking like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do drugs, because you watched enough behind the musics to learn like that didn't work out too well for them. You know what I mean? So, it's just,
Garth Brooks, as many times when he was interviewed, said that he was a huge Kiss fan.
Yeah.
And I think he went out and actually started covering some Kiss songs. I don't know if he ever recorded like a Kiss covers, but he would be the first to tell you, yeah, man, Kiss was my jam when I was a kid.
Oh, I mean, I think this is so important, to have those influences and different influences from all different backgrounds as an artist to make who you want to be as an artist, because it's so easy to go copy, somebody, and you don't want to copy somebody else's things.
I'm going to say an artist and tell me one quick word that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Taylor Swift.
Trailblazer for in a lot of ways.
Garth Brooks.
Ooh. The GOAT.
Kenny Chesney.
Good Time.
George Strait.
The King.
Who's your favorite female country artist, if you had to pick one?
Ooh.
Because I love Shania Twain. I know she's my country pop.
Yeah.
But I put on her CD, man, and every song speaks to me, man.
Well, I mean, she had, Mutt Lange with Def Leppard. Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of influence. I mean, Shania Twain's phenomenal. She's up there with me. Lainey Wilson's a newer country artist. She's phenomenal. But Natalie Maines, Dixie Chicks, was always one of my favorite female vocalists.
I like Gretchen Wilson.
Yep.
She's fun.
Yeah.
We actually cover with our new singer now. We do a bunch of her stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Here for the Party.
Yep.
Redneck Woman, All Jacked Up.
Yeah. That's great songs. Jacked Up.
I know, right? That's why we do it.
Yeah,
Dereck, it was great to have you on the show, man. Thank you very much,
Thank
man.
You, man.
I look forward to your continued success, and I'm
you,
certainly going to come check you guys out next time
Thank you.
available to do that.
Thank you for having me.